Hello and welcome to Borthakur IAS Academy. So in this video, I am going to talk about how to write a good answer in your mains examination. Okay. So the first thing that you need to keep in mind while writing your answer in your mains examination is that the time factor. Okay. So in this examination, you are going to get a question paper that will carry 250 marks and the time allotted to you will be 3 hours. Okay. So in this 250 marks paper, you are going to get basically 20 questions. You are going to get 20 questions and this 20 question will be of two types. Okay, you are going to get 10 question which will carry 10 marks. Okay, then you are going to get another set of 10 question which will carry 15 marks. Okay, now while writing this answer, your answer in your mains examination, you need to keep in mind the time factor. Okay, so if we convert these 3 hours into minutes, it will come to around 180 minutes. Okay, so what we suggest is that for a 10 marker question, it is better if you write your answer within 7 minutes or below 7 minutes. Okay, this is a suggested time frame that you need to complete your 10 marker question. Okay, and for a 15 marker question, it is suggested that you complete your answer within 11 minutes or below 11 minutes. Okay. So when you are going to give 7 minutes each to each of the question, so basically your 10 marker question will take around 70 minutes to complete. Okay, then your 15 marker questions are going to take around 110 minutes. Okay, so if you use this time properly of basically 7 minutes and 11 minutes, then you can easily complete your question paper in 180 minutes. Okay, so this is the time that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so let us now move to the other parts that your answer should have. Okay, so the next thing that you need to keep in mind while answering a question is basically to meet the demand of the question. Okay, you have to meet the demand of the question. Okay, jodi question to bhalse buji nupua, then kindly do reread. Okay, bhalse pohiba, pohi pele question to jitu demand hoy, and basically try to answer accordingly. Okay, so if you keep basically right answer beating around the bush, you're basically not going to get marks. Okay, so you need to basically meet the demand of that particular question. Okay, so the next part is your content. Okay, according to the demand of the question, your content should be up to the mark. Okay, and it will totally depend on you. Okay, so you need to build up your content. Okay, so you need to have content, then only you are going to get you are going to fetch mark. Okay, then the third thing that you need to keep in mind is the structuring of the answer. Okay, so if I talk about structuring of the answer, so a proper answer, it has basically 3 parts. Okay, first, the answer should have a proper intro. Okay, the answer should have a proper intro, and second, the answer should have the proper body. Okay, according to the requirement of the question, your body part should be formed. Okay, then a third thing that a good answer should have is conclusion. Okay, so these are the main things that you need to keep in mind while structuring your answer. Okay, your answer should have a proper intro, it should have a proper body. Okay, in your body part you can use flowchart and make it much more attractive. I will give you a live demonstration of how to basically get the maximum amount of mark. Then it should have a proper conclusion. Okay, so what we suggest is that in your intro part, it should be completed within 5 lines. Okay, or you should use basically 20 to 25 words. Okay, so the maximum word content should be included in the body part. Okay, most of the things that are being asked in the question should be included in the body part. Okay, then in a conclusion part, it should basically consist of around 30 to 35 words. Okay, so if the question is talking about certain problems in our society, then you should basically talk about giving way forwards in your conclusion. Okay, you can use taglines of the present government. Take for example, sabka saath sabka vikas. Okay, enekwa type tumaloke taglines use koribo para. Okay, then you can also quote. Okay, you can also use quotes. Okay, suppose if you're writing about a history question, okay, if you're writing about a history question, then you should basically talk about the future movement that are going to take place after that particular movement. Take for example, the question is demanding you to write something about the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so in the conclusion part, what you can do is that you can talk about the civil disobedience movement, then you can talk about the Quit India movement, and you can talk about how our Indian leaders learned from the experience of the non-cooperation movement and how they carried forward that momentum into the civil disobedience movement, then ultimately into the Quit India movement that will ultimately one day lead to the freedom of our country. Okay, so these are the things that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so these are the basic requirement. Your answer should have a proper intro, the question should be addressed in a body part, then it should have a proper conclusion. Okay, so now I will show you how to write an introduction. Okay, how to write an introduction. Suppose you are getting this question, just for example, failures of the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so the question to kind of, it is a very straightforward question. Okay, the question is asking you point out the reasons, achievements and the failures of the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so it is basically a very straightforward question. They are asking you to point out the reasons why NCM took place and what are the achievements of the non-cooperation movement, what are the failures of the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so etia ei answer to likhude prothomote ami ki monot rakhibo lagibo, mo already tumaloko koisilu je your answer should have a proper intro. Okay, I will show you. Okay, I will just give you an example of how to write an intro. Okay, so the non-cooperation movement was the first mass-based movement that was led by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, it was launched on 1st of August 1920 from the central meeting of All India Khilafat meeting held in Allahabad. Okay, so this is how basically this is how an introduction should be. Okay, so here I have talked that non-cooperation movement was the first mass-based movement that was led by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so you need to underline the important points. Okay, so it was the first mass-based movement that was led by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, it was the first mass-based all India movement that was led by Mahatma Gandhi. Yar agoleke jiban kita movement Mahatma Gandhi lead kori asile, it was not kind of, you can say, it did not connected to a large amount of people. Okay, the first pan-India movement of Mahatma Gandhi, kind of, you can say, it was the anti-roller agitation. Okay, anti-roller agitation, but this was the first movement in which a large number of people participated. Okay, so first mass-based movement of Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, then the second thing that you can underline in this introduction part is that it was started on 1st of August 1920. Okay, Aru, the next thing that you can underline is that from where it was declared. Okay, so it was declared from the meeting of all in a Khilafat meeting that was held in Allahabad. Okay, so jetia tumaloke answer likhiba, you need to highlight the important points. Okay, because jetia tumaloko question answer sheets checking koribo, so hetu time ki hobo he teacher jone bahut gikhon copy checking koribo. Okay, so you need to grab the attention of the teacher. Okay, so this is how you grab the attention of the teacher. Okay, so let us move to the second part. Okay, the main body part, what it is asking. I am not going to discuss the achievements and the failures. Okay, I am going to just show you the reasons part. Okay, how to basically write in write your body part. Okay, so this is the introduction. Okay, so in the body part, the first thing they are asking in the question is the reasons. Okay, what are the reasons for the launching of the non-cooperation movement? Okay, first you write the connecting line. Okay, okay, so the first reason for the launching of non-cooperation movement, if you have prepared well your modern Indian syllabus, then you will know the first reason for launching of the non-cooperation movement was the anti-Rowlatt agitation. Okay, the first reason for the launching of the non-cooperation movement was the anti-Rowlatt agitation. Okay, then the second reason for the launching of the non-cooperation movement was the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Jallianwala Bagh massacre that was carried by Brigadier General Reginald O'Dwyer. Okay, so a large number of people they gathered in Jallianwala Bagh on 13th of April 1919, and they basically gathered to protest the Rowlatt Act. Okay, the Rowlatt Act, and Governor Brigadier General Reginald O'Dwyer, he decided to shoot the people. Okay, so this is the second reason why the non-cooperation movement was launched. Okay, then the third reason why the non-cooperation movement was launched was the issue of Khilafat. The issue of Khilafat. Okay, so this post of Khalifa. Okay, a post of Khalifa to ki hoy? The Khalifa is basically the head of the Muslim world, religion wise also as well as political wise also. Okay, so after the end of the First World War, the British, they are going to conquer Turkey and they are going to remove this post of Khalifa, and as a result of that a huge kind of Khilafat agitation started in the entire world, and one such agitation also started in India also. Okay, and Mahatma Gandhi, to basically bridge the gap that existed between the Hindus and the Muslims, he decided to support the Khilafat movement in India. Okay, in fact he was the president of the All India Khilafat Committee. Okay, so this is the third reason why basically the non-cooperation movement was launched, and the fourth reason why the non-cooperation movement was launched was the general economic price rise. The general price rise after the First World War. Okay, so this is how basically you can present your answer in a more appealing manner. Okay, I could have written in an ordinary manner. Okay, but if you use this kind of techniques, like you can use cursors, you can use this kind of arrows, then you can use this kind of things. Okay, so this is how basically you can make your answer attractive. Okay, so similarly you can write the achievements also. Okay, similarly you can write the achievements. There are many achievements in the field of in social field also there is many achievements. There is achievements in the field of political field also, there is achievement in the economic field also. Okay, so this is how basically in one way you can present your answer. Okay, so you can basically present your answer for this part also, then you can also present your answer for the failure part also. Okay, now let me show you how to write the conclusion of this question. Okay, how to write the conclusion of this question. Okay, so kind of you can say the NCM. Okay, the NCM, the main objective of NCM was to reinstate the post of Khalifa. Okay, to reinstate the post of Khalifa. Then basically to give India Swaraj. Okay, self-rule. Okay, basically to give India Swaraj. But the non-cooperation movement, it was unable to basically achieve these goals. Okay, but nonetheless, the non-cooperation movement was a big success. Okay, it was mainly because of the Chori Chora incident. It was stopped suddenly. Okay, but if you neglect this entire failure part, as a whole, kind of you can say the non-cooperation movement was a huge success. Okay, so in your answer, in a conclusion part, you should basically try to balance out. Okay, last part of the question to tumaloke saisa, a failure part too, it has pointed out the failure. Okay, so in this conclusion part, you should basically try to point out the positives. Okay, you should try to point out the positives of non-cooperation movement. Okay. Was not able to achieve its set goal of reinstitution of the post of Khalifa. Considered a success as our Indian leaders are going to draw okay, so this is how basically you should write a conclusion. Okay, so here I have talked about, the question is not asking you, okay, what was the goal of non-cooperation movement. Okay, so here in this conclusion part, I have basically pointed out the goals of the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so the main goals of the non-cooperation movement were the reinstitution of the post of Khalifa, pushing India to the goal of Swaraj. Okay, although ekhini objectives asile, it was not able to achieve it, but nonetheless this non-cooperation movement is very important. Why? Because our Indian leaders, they are going to draw heavily from this non-cooperation movement. Okay, it was on the momentum that was built on the it was on the back of the momentum that was built on the non-cooperation movement that the future struggles of India will be carried forward. Okay, take for example the civil disobedience movement and the Quit India movement. They are going to basically get inspired from this this non-cooperation movement. Okay. Okay, so this is how you basically write a conclusion. Okay, I have basically shown you. You can improve on it. It is just an example of how to underline, how to point out, how to use flowchart. Okay, the gist of the things that I am talking is that make your answer basically attractive. Okay, grab the attention of the invigilator. Okay, the one who is checking your paper, and try to achieve the maximum marks. Okay, so these are the things you need to keep in mind while writing your answer in your mains. Okay, so the next thing that I am going to talk about is the 735 rule. Okay, is the 735 rule. So what is this 735 rule? Okay, so what is this 735 rule? 735 rule. Okay, so the first here 7. Okay, already I have told you, you will have a limited period of time. Okay, so basically you need to answer your question within 7 minutes. Okay, so this is the meaning of 7. Okay, already I have told you, you need to answer your question within 7 minutes. Okay, or below 7 minutes. Okay, now 3. Basically 3 stands for elaborate your answer according to the need of the question in 3 dimensions. Okay, so elaborate your answer according to the need of the question in 3 dimensions. In 3 dimensions. Okay, so yat etia 3ta dimension bili kobole gole, what are the 3 dimensions? Are basically first dimension of the question. Whenever you are writing a question, okay, so you should basically try to point out its political dimension, its economic dimension, okay, then you need to point out its geographic dimension, okay, geographic dimension, then you need to point out its social dimension. Okay, whatever question you are getting, okay, always try to think that question from political point of view. Okay, always think it from the economic point of view, think it from the geographical point of view, then think it from the social point of view. Okay, even while writing an essay also, you need to keep this dimension in mind. Okay, so your answer should have this kind of dimensions to it. Okay, then suppose the question is asking you about the suggestions. Okay, they are stating a certain fact. Okay, and the question requires basically to write for the statement. Okay, then you should also give the suggestions that are against that particular statement. Okay, then you should also try to give a way forward. Okay, you should always try to give a way forward. So jihetu tumaloke civil service officer bonibo goi asa, so you should basically always try to give kind of way forward in your conclusions. Okay, kiba ta problems ase, so tumi tar conclusion ki koribo par, you can basically suggest some way forward je etu korile bhal hoy ba etu korile bhal hoy. Okay, it is always suggested to do that, because in future also you are, as an officer, you are going to solve problems only. Okay, so you should have ready solutions. Okay, then the third thing that basically your answer should address is, in your answer, it should be able to answer, okay, what is the issue, why is the issue, okay, like when it took place. Okay, so these are the dimensions that need to be addressed. Okay, like what is the issue, why it took place, when it started, okay, how it started. Okay, so these are the 3 dimensions. Okay, according to the need of the question, your answer should have these 3 dimensions. Okay, these are the 3 dimensions. And the next one is 5. Okay, 5 is nothing but, in your answer you should at least point out 5 points. Okay, include at least 5 points in your answer. Okay, so this is the 735 rule. Okay, so this is the 735 rule. Okay, so 7 or more meaning to ki kolu, that you need to answer your question within 7 minutes. Okay, always try to basically answer your question that is of 10 marks below 7 minutes or within 7 minutes. Okay, so if it is a 15 marks question, then you need to complete that answer within 11 minutes or below 11 minutes. Okay, so this is the first thumb rule. Okay, then the third, basically 3, it means elaborate your answer according to the need of the question in 3 dimensions. Okay, so whenever you are getting a question and according to the need of the question, okay, according to the need of the question. So you should elaborate that answer, Baba. You should write that answer, thinking about it from the political viewpoint, thinking about that question from the economic viewpoint, geographical viewpoint, and you should also try to point out the social dimension, okay, the social dimension of that particular topic, okay. Then the second thing is the second dimension that your question should have according to need of the question, okay. So you should basically try to write the things which are for that particular statement, okay. If there are things that are said against the statement, you should also point out that, okay. Then as already I told you, you're going to an officer, so in your conclusion part you should always try to suggest some way forward, okay. Solution, you should always try to suggest some solution in your conclusion part, okay. Then the third dimension that need to be covered in your answer is what is the issue, okay, what is the issue. Then try to point out why it took place, when it took place, and how it took place, okay. So these are the dimensions that you need to cover in your answer, okay. So these are the three dimensions, okay. Then the 5 rule is this part, it means basically include at least 5 points in your answer, okay. So whenever you are writing an answer, try to at least write down basically the 5 points, okay. So that's all for today in this session. Hope you like it. So thank you very much.